Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Sydney Greenstreet, The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe from 72 years ago, October 20th, 1950, stamped for murder. And we thank you for tuning in on this Sure Happy It's Thursday, 20th day of October, 293rd day of the year. We have 72 days remaining till we get to 2023. The Senate ratified the Louisiana Purchase on this date in 1803. The Convention of 1818 signed between the U.S. and the U.K., which, among other things, settled the Canadian border on the 49th parallel for most of its length.
Mr. President, your offices, my dear friends, I have returned.
General Douglas MacArthur on this date in 1944, fulfilling his promise to return to the Philippines when he commanded an Allied assault on the islands, reclaiming them from the Japanese during the Second World War. 1947, the House Un-American Activities Committee began an investigation into communist infiltration of Hollywood, resulting in a blacklist that prevented some from working in the industry for years. Former First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy married Greek shipping tycoon Aristotle Onassis in 1968. In 1973, President Nixon fired Attorney General Elliot Richardson and Deputy Attorney General William Ruckelshaus after they refused to fire Watergate Special Prosecutor Archibald Cox, who would finally be fired by Robert Bork.
Although I strongly believe in the general purposes and priorities of his administration, I have been compelled to conclude that I could better serve my country by resigning my public office.
Elliot Richardson on his resignation. It was on this date in 1973 the $6 Million Man premiered on ABC. 1977, a plane carrying Leonard Skinner crashed in Mississippi, killing the group's lead singer Ronnie Van Zant and guitarist Steve Gaines. The Oakland Hills firestorm killed 25, destroyed almost over 3,400 homes and apartments, $2 billion in damage back in 1991. Egyptian-born Ali Mohammed, a U.S. citizen who'd served in the Army, pled guilty in New York on this date in 2000 to helping plan the U.S. Embassy bombings in Africa in 1998 that killed 224 people. And in 2011, Muammar Gaddafi, Libya's dictator for 42 years, killed as revolutionary fighters overwhelmed his hometown and captured the last major bastion of resistance 2 months after his regime fell. Also passing away on this date in history, President Herbert Hoover, President 31, actors Joel McCrea, Burt Lancaster, Jack Elam, and Jane Wyatt, best remembered as Margaret in TV's Father Knows Best. Born on this date, Bela Lugosi.
I am Dracula. I bid you welcome. Listen to them. Children of the night, what music they make.
From the movie Dracula, Bela Lugosi, born on this date in history. Arlene Francis, probably best remembered for, well, she did a lot of game shows and that sort of thing, but primarily from her time on What's My Line. Banjo player, singer, Grandpa Jones, also baseball's Mickey Mantle, William Christopher from MASH, Jerry Orbach, Tom Petty, and Scott Hall, who passed away earlier this year at the age of 63. He fell, broke his hip, and couldn't get to the phone. Nope, he was there for days. Took him to hospital. Apparently, the fall discharged a blood clot. He suffered several heart attacks. Sad story. Scott Hall, or remember to WWE fans as Razor Ramon. The Queen of Rockabilly, Wanda Jackson, 85 today. From Lord of the Rings, Viggo Mortensen is 64. Chavo Guerrero Jr., 52, the nephew of Eddie Guerrero. Australian singer Dannii Minogue, Kylie Minogue's sister, 51. Rapper Snoop Dogg, 51. From The Office, John Krasinski is 39. From Supernatural and Veronica Mars, Alona Tai is 39. And from My Wife and Kids, Jennifer Freeman is 37. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 20th day of October as their birthday. If this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
From 72 years ago today, Sydney Greenstreet, The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, on this Thursday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you can get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare. And that's MediShare. You get both. The typical family saves $500 a month switching to MediShare. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. It's because MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge PPO network, so yeah, really, you could save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. If you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number you need. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Thanks for tuning into Classic Radio Theater on your favorite station on this Thursday, an episode of Sydney Greenstreet, starring in The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, from 72 years ago today, October 20th, 1950.
Transcribed.
My boss is the smartest and the stubbornest, the fattest and the laziest, the cleverest and the craziest, the most extravagant detective in the world, Nero Wolfe.
It's the adventure of Stamped for Murder, with that brilliant, eccentric private detective, orchid fancier, and gargantuan gourmet, Nero Wolfe, starring Sydney Greenstreet.
Instructions for this morning, Archie. Your notebook, please. First, Mr. Salinsbeck. Inform him that the Long Island peafowl he sent were most unsatisfactory. Peafowl's breast flesh is not sweet and tender unless it is well protected from all alarms, especially from the air, to prevent nervousness. Long Island is full of airplanes.
Look, Mr. Wolfe,
I shall want a dozen chickens that have been raised on blueberries and a fresh-killed lamb for tomorrow.
Mr. Wolfe, please listen. There's...
Mr. Goodwin, be quiet, and then dinner on the following day becomes a problem.
Mr. Wolfe, dinner any day is going to be a problem if we don't pay Sausenbach's bill.
Then pay it.
With what? The bank account's empty.
Ridiculous. There were $4,000 yesterday.
But you bought that shipment of orchid bulbs from Weinold Gluckner. Mr. Wolfe, we need money. You've got to stop eating and drinking beer long enough to earn some.
Shush. You're an alarmist.
Will you, for the love of heaven, stop turning down clients and turn an honest dollar? I've got a couple of prospects right outside the door.
Send them away.
No, sir.
Send them away. Tell them I've gone to Egypt.
Nothing doing, sir.
Confound you, Archie. Obey orders. Send them away.
Miss Kent, Mr. Rodman, come in, please.
Thank you. Confound you, Archie. You're mutinous.
Yes, sir, and you're stuck with it. This is Miss Gloria Kent and Mr. Rodman. They arrived as advertised with a pressing problem.
Good morning. You people are here by sufferance only. I shall speak to Mr. Goodwin about it later. Yes, indeed. I don't like pressing problems, Miss Kent. What are yours?
My father.
Indeed, I'm not a court of domestic relations, Miss Kent. What did your father do? Beat you? Withhold your earnings? Discourage your suitors? Mr. Goodwin should have informed you this office does not undertake cases involving marital or family problems.
But that's not...
If Mr. Goodwin had not been beguiled by your pretty face, he might have warned you and avoided this embarrassment to you and annoyance to me.
Now, take it easy, take it easy. How many times have I told you you don't know how to handle women?
Then suppose you let Miss Kent handle me.
Well, it's simply this, Mr. Wolfe. I had some money my mother left me. My father's just spent it without my permission. I want it back without a scandal.
Thanks, Miss Kent. How much? How spent?
$10,000. Father bought a treasure map.
Indeed, from whom?
A pair of swindlers named Cross and Halleck. They've driven him crazy, talking about fortune salvaged from the SS this and the SS that. He's got a map and old letters he studies. He's childish.
Many fortunes have been recovered. Many more await on the sea bottom. How do you know your father has been duped?
Well, I know.
You do, Mr. Rodman.
Yes. Cross and Halleck bought some old letters from me, written by my grandfather from Hawaii. They used them to manufacture the map and evidence. And that's what they sold to Kent.
Father thought he was being so clever. He had the paper analyzed. Of course, the document research laboratory said the letters were genuine. They were. But something new had been added. I'd have never known if Mr. Rodman hadn't told me.
You're a party to the swindle, Mr. Rodman?
I was not. I never knew what they were up to.
Mr. Wolfe, you've got to help me. I can't do anything with Father. I can't convince him. Even Mr. Rodman can't.
No, Miss Kent, I'm sorry. This is not for me.
But you must. You must.
Not in my office, madam. No tears. Please, Archie, stop her.
Okay.
Archie, when Miss Kent has finished her disgraceful exhibition, show them out.
How dare he walk out on us like we were...
Easy. I know him. You don't. He gets into a panic when women cry, or else he's curious about what Fritz is cooking for lunch. Now, just wait a minute, please. Oh, aren't you ashamed of yourself walking out like that on that poor kid?
That hysterical gamma.
She's lost all of her money. She needs help.
I charge high fees, Archie.
So charge a small fee. Do you want her to starve?
Good heavens. Starve? How monstrous.
I'm not kidding. While you'll be in here smelling your dinner, she and her father will be starving.
I thought you were bringing me a paying client.
Well, this is different. She's,
beautiful. Archie, you're impossible. Oh, very well. Go back into them. Get names, addresses, facts. I am not committed to Miss Kent's case, but we'll see. Be a tribute I paid for your weakness for a pretty face.
Rodman and Gloria Kent were gone, however. So all I had were the few facts they'd given me before they met Wolfe. I felt guilty about that when he came back into the office and sat down in his specially built chair. He closed his eyes, and I glared at him. Well, how much of you is awake? Mr. Wolfe? Well, they disappeared. Did you tell me you were going to help this girl just to get her out of the office, or did you mean it?
You're a gadfly.
No, sir. You made a promise, and you're stuck with it.
What did you get from Rodman?
Name, address, occupation. He's a librarian, that's all.
Very careless, Archie. You missed a significant point.
Such as,
How did Rodman discover the letters he sold were being altered by forgery and used for swindle? How did he locate the dupe, Mr. Kent?
I guess you're right. I'll ask him next time. But what about now? Are you going to get Gloria's money back?
I assume you call Miss Kent Gloria solely in order to annoy me. It does. Stop it. Get Cross and Halleck.
On my way.
You'll find them at the Hotel Bogart.
Wrong, sir. According to my notes, their address is...
Never mind their address. The Hotel Bogart is the headquarters for successful confidence tricksters. They celebrate their victories there while the money lasts. You will possibly find Cross and Halleck drinking whiskey or lunching, probably both.
I located Cross and Halleck in the hotel bar and lured them back to our place on 35th Street. Wolfe was sitting behind his desk with his hands crossed on his impressive middle, at peace with his lunch and the world when I ushered them in. He sat bolt upright and scorched me with a look. Good afternoon, Mr. Wolfe. The tall one's name is Cross, the short one is Halleck. They want to help me invest my money. Gentlemen, Mr. Nero Wolfe.
What?
Who? Nero Wolfe.
Hey, what is this?
Confound you, Archie. How drunk are they?
Not too drunk for business.
Let's get out of here. Come on.
Wait a minute.
Duck decoy.
You want me to keep him here, Mr. Wolfe?
Not by violence, Archie. Come back here, gentlemen. Unless you want 7 years in the state penitentiary.
Unless what?
You got nothing on us, Wolf. Nothing.
I have the Kent case.
The Kent?
That's a laugh. We're sitting pretty.
You are not, sir. You imagine you possess legal immunity. Mr. Kent believes you are grotesque balderdash and will not sue for fraud. Miss Kent cannot sue because she is reluctant to accuse her father of wrongfully obtaining her money. Ergo, you think you are invulnerable.
Now, listen.
But you forget me. I'm a detective with a fee to earn.
A big fee.
Quiet, Archie. I am determined to get that fee. Therefore, as Miss Kent's agent, I can and will bring action against you. I'm indifferent to her tears or her father's disgrace. I'm indifferent to anything outside of money. You will return the $10,000 to me at once, sir, or you'll be in jail by morning.
You mean that?
I do, Mr. Cross.
Alec.
Yeah?
Come here.
I think we're going to follow seems to me, so. Ben Stanton?
Come on, hurry.
Okay. Here, Mr. Wolfe. Alec and I have decided we don't want to get in any trouble with you. Here's your 10 grand.
Let's have it.
Give the dough to Kent, Mr. Wolfe, and get the letters and map back for us. You've got a reputation for being tricky, but honest. And we trust you. Come on, Alec, let's go.
Yeah,
Well, how about that?
Preposterous.
No, sir. Take a look. $10,000, genuine coin of the realm.
That man Cross is a fool. Does he imagine I'm to be fooled so easily?
What do you mean he left the money?
He surrendered too quickly, Archie. Too easily. And that money in the envelope he was carrying all ready to refund. Why?
Well, maybe he's got a better sucker. I heard him mention a Ben Sanford.
Nonsense. Does he need Kent's forged letters and map to cheat this Ben Sanford? Couldn't he prepare another set?
I guess you're right. Something's fishy.
In any event, it's no concern of mine, thank heaven.
Why not?
I'm not committed to Miss Kent in any way. As a favor to you, I undertook to regain her money. I have done that. You may take it back to her and obtain the forged papers in return.
But,
Silence, Mr. Goodwin. Go to your redhead charmer. Leave me in peace. I intend to spend this afternoon with my New World Atlas.
I left him 3,000 miles up the Amazon with his magnifying glass and drove up to East 69th Street. The Kent house was a broken-down little brownstone, and as I went up the stoop, the door opened and Gloria Kent burst out like a skyrocket. Hey, Miss Kent, easy, easy.
Let go of me. Let go.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
Wrong. Nothing is wrong. Nothing at all.
Well, how about seeing your father?
You want to see my father? Come inside.
Oh, for the love of heaven.
Come inside, Mr. Goodwin. I'll introduce you. He's in a back room. Come right through the living room.
What else came through this living room? A hurricane?
No, Mr. Goodwin. Something else. There's my father, Mr. Goodwin.
What in the devil? He's dead. His throat's cut.
Father, this is Archie Goodwin from Nero Wolfe's office. He and his boss refused to help while they could. Maybe he can help you now.
Stop it.
All I'm good for now is revenge. That's all.
Stop it. Stop it and look at me. When did it happen?
I don't know.
When did you find him?
Just now.
Keep looking at me. Who went through this house like a hurricane? You?
No.
Where did you go after you left the office?
To the laboratory.
What lab?
Document research. The place that checked the map.
How long were you there?
Until an hour ago. I was with Mr. Rodman.
Keep looking at me. And then?
I had lunch.
With Rodman?
Alone. And then I came home.
All right. All right, now listen to me. I want you to go to Mr. Wolfe's house right now. Have you got a cab there?
Yes.
All right, take a cab. I've got to stay here, but I'll call Mr. Wolfe and tell him you're on the way. Now, get. I called Wolfe, told him everything, and he instructed me to advise Inspector Kramer, who arrived with the homicide squad. I gave the inspector everything while the squad photographed and measured, print dusted and detected. At 3:30, Kramer took me back to the house on 35th Street for a fight with Wolfe.
It's a great story, Wolfe. Great. Kent buys a phony treasure map. Everybody knows it's phony except Kent. But Cross and Halleck try to buy it back, and Kent gets himself murdered.
Did you find the map and letters in the house, Inspector?
No, I didn't.
The killer was after the map.
The phony map?
Certainly.
Why?
Well, if we knew that, we would know why Cross and Halleck so willingly paid back the money and why Kent was murdered.
Maybe it's not phony.
I'd better see the girl now.
Oh, you fancy her for the murder?
Well, I'll know after I ask a few questions.
Tonight. She's had a shock, Mr. Kramer. She needs rest.
Look, Wolfe, I want her.
Why bother with her when there's so much to be done?
Yes, such as?
Cross and Halleck, find them. And the mystery man they spoke of, Ben Sanford. These are the men you want now, not this poor, overwrought girl.
Yeah. All right. The girl will be here for questioning tonight, though, huh?
Tonight, Mr. Kramer.
Okay. You'll hear from me later on.
Well, you buffaloed him out of that, okay. Say, why don't you want her questioned? Is she guilty?
I don't know.
Well, what did she say when she got here?
She said nothing. She never arrived.
She never what?
She never arrived.
Well, then why did you tell Kramer she was resting?
Would he have believed the truth? She must be found. More important, we must learn why forged letters and forged map produces turmoil.
Find the killer and you find the map. You said so.
I said the reverse, which is an altogether different statement. Archie, I want a photograph of that map. Get it.
Oh, sure. Any particular camera you want me to use?
You'll find the photograph at 200 Vanderbilt Street.
Are you kidding?
The lab cannot check the authenticity of old papers without photographing them in ultraviolet light, infrared light, and so on. If this document research lab has examined those papers, they will have photographs. Get them.
He got out of his chair and waddled back to the house elevator. It was 4 o'clock and time for his regular afternoon session with the orchids. I drove down to the document research laboratory on Vanderbilt and got such a shock that I grabbed the office phone and dialed Wolfe at once.
Well, you'll have to wait to find out why he got the shock. October 20th, 1950, The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. This break for your favorite station, the news from 72 years ago today, comes up next. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. You're listening to an episode of The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe as it was originally broadcast Friday, October 20th, 1950. In the newspapers of that Friday 72 years ago today, these were some of the headlines. United Nations troops mopped up today inside Pyongyang against the last Reds still resisting with small arms and mortars in the swiftly overrun former North Korean capital. A U.S. 8th Army spokesman said Pyongyang, the bulk of which was occupied yesterday, has not yet been officially declared secured, but added it is more in the nature of a cleanup now. New York State's political turmoil churned up yesterday a 1948 letter in which Democrat U.S. Senator Harbert H. Lerman expressed complete confidence in the loyalty of Alger Hiss. Hiss, the former State Department official, convicted last year on perjury charges involving the leakage of pre-government secrets to a pre-war Soviet spy ring. Lemon's letter to Hiss appeared in the New York World Telegram and Sun 3 days after publication of the sensational Hanley letter, which President Truman said yesterday won't hurt Democrat chances in the November elections. President Truman yesterday heatedly denied there is any disagreement between him and General Douglas MacArthur on Formosa, saying that question was settled 5 weeks ago. It was that time that President Truman ordered MacArthur to withdraw a statement he sent to the veterans of foreign wars concerning Formosa, the big island off the Chinese coast. Briefly, MacArthur's position was that the U.S. must prevent Formosa from falling into unfriendly hands because it's vital to U.S. defenses. The administration takes the position that Formosa's future is a question for the United Nations. President Truman said yesterday at his news conference that the new anti-subversive law passed over his veto will be enforced to the letter. Told that Senator McCarran, the Democrat of Nevada, one of its authors, had accused the administration of discrediting the law, the president said it was Congress, not the administration, that discredited it. The Soviet government accused the big three Western powers of contemplating the revival of the regular German army and warned that Russia will not tolerate such measures. The Russia's accusation was made in a note rejecting a joint Big Three protest charging the Soviets with creating a German army disguised as a police force in the Soviet zone of Germany. Members of the Spanish Falange, the only political party in Spain, have been barred from entering the U.S. under the new communist control law, that from the State Department. Justice Department has classed them as totalitarians and thus covered by the statute. The decision was made by the Immigration Service and backed by the Justice Department and was regarded as certain to cause repercussions at home and abroad. And an embarrassed man walked into the Lyon County Hospital had a fishing hook caught through his right ear. While a doctor removed it, an attendant asked the man his name. He reluctantly admitted he was John Dean of Emporia, the fish and game warden for the area. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Friday, October 20th, 1950. On your radio, The Adventures of Nero Wolfe, which continue now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
This is Nero Wolfe.
Mr. Wolfe, Archie here.
What's the matter? You lost?
No, sir. No, sir, but I found something.
Photographs?
No, Mr. Wolfe, I don't think you'll ever see any photographs of the Kent map. I don't think any were taken.
Indeed.
But guess who runs the document research laboratory? No, don't guess. You probably know. A man named Ben Sanford, and he's sitting right here looking at me.
Bring him home with you.
Home? But it's 4 p.m. This is the sacred hour when you pray over your orchids.
Then Mr. Sanford can join the ceremony.
Hey, how about this place? How about it? There must be 1,000,000 flowers up here.
No, not flowers. Orchids only. Mr. Wolfe has 10,000 plants.
Never saw anything like it.
And you never will again, brother.
Hey, what kind is that on the bench?
Oh, that's our pride and joy. Odontoglossum harryanum. Above them, the Van Petersirana, and the pink ones are the Coelogiani panduratas. Now, the large object, mulching flower pots, is Nero Wolfe. Mr. Wolfe, Ben Sanford.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi. I came along to be obliging. I've got nothing to say about anything.
How much have you offered Cross and Halleck for their treasure map?
No comment.
Mr. Sanford, I'm going to make some assumptions. I assume that you are not, in fact, a document expert, but an accessory to the fraud of Halleck and Cross.
No comment.
That you actually prepare fraudulent maps for those swindlers, and then, in the guise of an expert, guarantee their authenticity.
No comment.
But this you must answer. You did guarantee the authenticity of the map and letters Kent bought. It's on record.
All right, I did.
Then will you admit they were forged?
What are you, a comic? No.
You guarantee the value of the Kent map?
Yes.
As an expert?
Yes.
Then you've convicted yourself of murder.
What? Murder? What is this?
Mr. Kent was murdered, sir. Evidently for the map and letters he bought. But of all persons involved, you alone believe in the value of the map. No one else does. Therefore, you alone would have murdered Kent for the map.
For the love of... Now, wait a minute.
Chew it over, brother, chew it over. Either way, he's got you.
Okay, you want me to level? Here it is.
Level, Archie?
Okay, boss. Thief-type talk. It means tell the truth.
It's like you say. The letters were bought from Rodman. I forged the map and evidence on them. I guaranteed them to Kent. It was a swindle.
The letters are without value?
Oh, sure, they're old, that's all. From 1851. Just tired family gossip and stuff.
Indeed. There we have the problem again, Archie. Mr. Kent is swindled with a map and letters that are known to be worthless. He alone believes the fantasy of the treasure.
There isn't any treasure, never was.
Yet Cross and Halleck refunded the swindle money so eagerly. It is obvious they want those worthless documents back badly. Someone else wants them so bad he murders Mr. Kent. Why?
I don't know.
Archie, we must find the girl. There's a chance she turned to Mr. Rodman for refuge. I'm sorry, you'll have to go there at once. If the girl isn't there, bring Rodman.
The conclusion of The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, the premiere production from October 20th, 1950, comes up next here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on a Thursday on your favorite station. We'll close out this week of Classic Radio Theater a funny way, with Groucho Marx in an episode of You Bet Your Life going back 69 years to October 21st, 1953. The secret word is name. A married couple walks over 2,000 miles so the wife can lose weight. That's what it says here. That's coming up on Friday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And, of course, anytime on demand at the webpage, classicradio.stream. Now the conclusion of Sydney Greenstreet and the New Adventures of Nero Wolfe from 72 years ago, October 20th, 1950, stamped for murder.
Yes?
Hello, Rodman. Remember me? I'm Archie Goodwin from Nero Wolfe's office.
Oh. Oh, yes, of course.
I came to get Gloria Kent. There's been a change in plans. Tell her to come out, please.
Gloria? Well, she's not here. Why should she be?
Haven't you heard?
Heard what?
Well, I guess you'd better come down and see Wolfe.
Mr. Goodwin, I'm afraid I can't. I'm rather busy.
Look, Rodman, maybe you ought to know. Old man Kent was murdered.
What?
Yes, just after you and Gloria left us.
Kent murdered? Well, this is awful, Mr. Goodwin.
You want to see Mr. Wolfe now? Get your hat.
Murder? Well, believe me, I never wanted this. I'm going to tell Nero Wolfe the whole mess. Every word of it.
Okay, then. Come on, let's go.
Yes, of course. Just a minute. I'll get my hat in the bedroom. Murdered? Kent? I never dreamed.
Oh. Come on, Rodman. Come on, Rodman. Come on. What? I didn't hear you. Oh, Rodman. What the... Rodman. Oh, Rodman. Good Lord, what next? Come on.
This is Nero Wolfe.
Archie here. We've had a tough break.
Yes?
While I was waiting for Rodman at the front door, he went into the bedroom for his hat. The killer was there.
How do you know?
He cut Rodman's throat.
Killer?
The back window was open. It's a ground floor apartment. He was out and gone before I had a chance.
Archie, where were your wits?
Let me alone. I've had a man murdered 20 feet from me. You think I'm cheering?
Mr. Kramer is here, and he has news for us, Archie. He could not locate Cross and Halleck in their apartment. They had not been home all day. The maid informed him that she was waiting for her weekly salary.
Well, so what?
She was most angry and peppery, Mr. Kramer informs me.
Red pepper?
Exactly.
Okay, maybe I know what you mean. I'll try to deliver the goods this time. Goodbye. I drove down to the apartment house on Gramercy Square where Cross and Halleck lived, took the elevator up to the 10th floor, found the right door, and slipped in with a pass key. Come on out. Come out wherever you are. I know you're in here. You fooled Kramer pretending to be the maid, but you didn't fool Wolfe. You'd better... Gloria! Cut it out, you idiot. Lay off. Archie, you dope. Archie Goodwin from Nero Wolfe's office. Remember me?
Let it go.
Give me the gun, Gloria. Give it to me. That's right. Who did you think I was?
Halleck.
Oh, brilliant. So Wolfe figured you out, huh? Well, you are a brave girl. They killed your father. You came up here and waited for them. You were going to kill them right back, huh? Oh, that red-headed temper. And you bluffed Kramer into thinking you were the maid.
I had to do something. It was the only thing I could think of. To come here and kill him.
Well, you're coming home with Archie. And just remember one thing. When Wolfe's working for you, don't try to do any thinking. It only gets in Wolfe's way. I got Gloria Kent back to the house at 7 o'clock. I parked the car, brought her into the office, and got the shock of my life. There was a convention on. Wolfe was there, with Inspector Kramer representing the cops. Cross, Halleck, and Sanford were there representing the crooks. When Kramer saw Gloria, he scowled first at her and then at Wolfe.
So it was a slick one after all, Wolfe. You didn't have the girl. You had no intention of producing her.
Please, Mr. Kramer, that can wait. There are other matters more important. I dine at 8. That leaves me 1 hour to solve your murders.
Murders? More than one?
Yes, 2. Elmer Rodman.
By heaven, Goodwin, if you...
Please, Mr. Kramer, not now. First, Miss Kent. Good evening, Miss Kent. I presume you have met these gentlemen, Cross, Halleck, and Sanford? Yeah, I'll take your purse, please.
Huh? Well, why?
Don't think me as naive as Mr. Goodwin, miss. When you left your home after the murder of your father, you took the map and letters with you. They're in your purse
well,
now.
That's not true.
Archie, the purse. Thank you. We have here an interesting situation. There exist some old letters and map, forged and fraudulent, which are worth $10,000 and more to Cross and Halleck and worth 2 murders to a killer. Why? There must be something of great value in the letters.
Yes, such as?
Something which Mr. Sanford could not see, although he worked on the document closely. yet something which could be made manifest. What is the answer, Miss Kent? You know it?
I swear I don't.
Secret writing, Archie. Bring the chafing dish from the dining room.
Right.
Secret writing?
I saw nothing when I worked on those letters.
Naturally, Mr. Sanford, the writing is invisible. But heat is an agent. It makes most forms of secret writing visible.
The chafing dish, boss.
Thank you, Archie. Place it before me and light it.
Right.
Now I open Miss Kent's purse. From it, you see, I withdraw these ancient letters which he took from her house after her father's murder.
That's not true.
Archie.
That's enough, Gloria. That's enough. From now on, you just listen.
We remove the letters from the envelope and toast them gently. The secret ink vintage 1851 will easily succumb to the agency of heat.
Careful. Those envelopes will catch fire.
Hey, they're caught.
Don't be upset, Mr. Cross, Mr. Halleck.
The envelopes!
They'll burn safely in the dish. And we can concentrate on the writing. Watch closely. I don't want to be accused of trickery.
You fat fool. The envelopes are everything.
Put 'em out, Sanford. Don't sit there. Put 'em out.
Why, Mr. Halleck?
Well, the stamps, the missionaries, they're worth a fortune.
The missionary. Of course. You know that. Mr. Cross knows. So does Mr. Sanford, right?
Yeah.
Cross Sanford knows, you old fool. Let me...
Mr. Sanford is not alarmed. Why not, sir?
I don't know what you're talking about.
$50,000 or $100,000 is burning before your eyes, Mr. Sanford. Cross and Halleck are burning their fingers, putting out the flaming envelopes. And you sit there quite indifferently. Why?
Well,
You know the value of the missionary stamps on the letters you bought from Rodman, but you know these aren't the real letters. Isn't that it?
Not the real letters?
I told you I'm tough to crack, Wolf. You didn't fool me with those dummies.
Dummies, how do you know? Mr. Cross didn't know. Mr. Halleck didn't know. How did you?
Well,
I'll tell you, sir. Only one man could know I was framing Miss Kent as a decoy. Only one man could know I prepared these dummy letters and pretended to take them from her purse. And that is the killer. The man who murdered her father and stole the map and letters this morning. You, sir, Mr. Sanford.
Well, I'll be...
Mr. Kramer, there's your killer. You'll find the missing map and letters on him or concealed in his home or office. You won't need the evidence anyway. Look at his face. He's self-confessed.
Self-confessed like fun. He was booby-trapped.
No, Mr. Craner. Not a complicated case, really. Very simple. Elmer Rodman sold a packet of old family letters to the swindlers for a small sum. They used the letters to perpetrate their fraud on Miss Kent's father.
And the stamps on the letters were valuable?
They were a special Hawaiian issue 1851, Miss Kent. Nicknamed missionaries, because missionaries used them for writing home. They are extremely rare stamps worth upward of $25,000 each.
Hey, no wonder they were worth 2 murders. We found 5 of them on Sanford.
Excellent. Somewhere or other, Rodman discovered the value of the stamps after he sold the letters. In his effort to get them back, he communicated his discovery to the swindlers, Cross, Halleck, and Sanford.
So that's why they refunded the money so fast.
Precisely, in an effort to have the sale rescinded. Rodman sought out Kent and tried to convince him of the fraud. Alas, he would not listen to the truth, Mr. Kramer.
Oh, I get it. And while the others were hassling around, Sanford tried to steal a march and quietly resorted to murder.
There you have it.
Ha-ha! Great job, boss. Great job. So Gloria not only gets her 10 grand back, but 5 times 25, which is about 125,000 worth of goodies. Now, figuring your rates by the hour, that means you've done a gratis job worth about...
Yes, Kent. I did not know will I demand a large fee for what I have done. I will not go back on my word. But I can beg for a favor.
I'll only be too happy to...
Wait. I ask something that will not be easy to grant.
What is it?
Will you use your red hair, your pretty face, your admirable figure, and your ample fortune to lure Mr. Goodwin away from this house tonight? I would like to enjoy my dinner in peace.
That won't be difficult, Mr. Wolfe.
Let's have an understanding right now, Gloria. Difficult for you or for me?
I'll be delighted.
Indeed. To spend an evening with Mr. Goodwin, there is only one word for you, Miss Kent. Intrepid.
You have been listening to The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, starring Sydney Greenstreet. Tonight's story by Alfred Bester was based on the famous characters created by Rex Stout, produced by Edwin Fadiman, and directed by J. Donald Wilson. In the cast were Wally Mayer as Archie Goodwin, and Gene Bates, Howard McNair, Jay Novello, Larry Dobkin, Bill Johnstone, and Herb Vigran. Music by Joseph Enos. Next week at this same time, Nero Wolfe and Archie will bring you The Case of the Careworn Cup. Don Stanley speaking.
Greenstreet, born in 1879, I should say. He didn't become an actor in films until the age of 61, but, he had a significant role in films, including in The Maltese Falcon, Casablanca, Passage to Marseille, and, of course, he did this one season of Nero Wolfe. And he was a U.S. citizen, became a citizen in 1925. He suffered from diabetes, Bright's disease, a kidney disorder. He died in 1954 in Hollywood. This would be his last significant role. Sydney Greenstreet, The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, the first episode, as I said, of the single-season series, October 20th, 1950. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday Classic Radio Theater. Thank this station. Support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time you roll around here on your favorite station. Miss a day? Don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available on demand at classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows there. You can find where our shows are available for download by podcast. You can also contact me there. You can learn to build a classic radio collection of your own. And if you like what we do, you can buy me a coffee. The Buy Me a Coffee money helps us acquire more great radio shows to bring to you here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That webpage one more time, classicradio.stream. Have a great Thursday. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.